So recently I had another one of these little air dusters sent out to me to try out and test. This was from Truwelby, and I've had a couple days to kind of play with this thing and get familiar with it. So I thought I'd go ahead and take a second and show you the features on this and maybe give you a few examples as to why you might find this thing handy. Now I've actually gone through and tested a few different models of these things before. They're all pretty well the same. They perform pretty evenly with the exception of one that had a little stronger speed to it, but that thing also carried double the price tag from what this one here comes in at. I think this particular unit's actually priced really attractively for what it's capable of. So let's go ahead and go over some of the features on this thing real quick, and then we'll dive into some of the uses you might want to use this for. So when you first get this thing out of the box, go ahead and get it charged. The back side here, you've got a USB-C. That's how you're going to charge that dude up. I think in around 30 minutes, I had a full charge on this thing. It wasn't completely dead when I got it though. So you'll see here on the side, you'll have a little battery indicator. If I push that button there real quick, you'll see it light up. That kind of tells you what the charge is on that thing. And right now I've got it fully charged. Now, if you actually go ahead and hold the button down for just a few seconds, you'll hear it pop on. It's got 3 different speeds that you can run this at. So this here is the low speed here, and it's nothing crazy, just enough air to kind of move something around. You get it to the 2nd speed, it picks up a little bit intensity. You can see how the rag here kind of moves around a little bit more. And then that 3rd speed there, it gets with it. It does a pretty good job. And then you hold the button here one more time, it shuts the unit off. Does a really good job. I think it's been somewhere around 130,000 RPM if I remember right. Now when it comes to the battery life on this thing, I did some testing on that in the high speed. I want to see if what they were advertising stacked up with the results I was actually getting. Now they advertise this on the low speed as being able to run for roughly 90 minutes on a charge. When you step up to that 2nd speed, you're going to get somewhere around 40 minutes. And then on that high speed, they're advertising it at 20. Now I'm going to say that I did fall a little bit short on that. I tested that 3 times just to see if I could get that full 20 minutes out of the high speed on this thing. The best I could do was 16.5 minutes. So I think they're a little bit under the mark in my opinion as to what this thing's capable of doing in terms of battery life. So all those numbers are probably gonna be slightly inflated, but either way, still getting 15 to 16 minutes of runtime out of this little dude on the high speed. I don't think that's too bad, and honestly it stacks up with the other couple units that I've tried so far. Now there's a couple different attachments on this thing that it comes with as well. So as you see here, I've got this long tip. It kind of narrows out right here on the front, and that just kind of pops off the unit. You do get this little shorter tip like you see here that you can pop on like so. And then you've also got this wider tip like you see here, and it'll pop on there too. Now the way they're advertising this as being used, the flatter tip would be like, I don't know, if the dog came in and you're trying to like use this as a hair dryer on the dog, you'd want to use that little wider tip just to kind of spread the air out a little wider. I have tried that on my Husky. I'm going to go ahead and tell you, try that at your own risk depending on your dog and how they do with air. My dog tries to eat this thing, so take that for what it's worth. Now, this little tip here, that's probably the one most of the time you're probably going to use. At least that's the one I kind of gravitate towards. And then this little longer tip like you see here, it's just going to kind of concentrate the air to a little bit smaller spot. So if you need to get in like a tight space, something of that nature, that one's handy as well. Now this one here also would be good too, and I haven't tried it with this unit personally, but the other 2 units I did. I had the air mattress down one time. Now these things will actually blow up an air mattress. It's a little on the slow side. What I found on the other units is that you want to probably run that in the medium speed. For some reason on the high speed, it seems like it kills the battery. I've had the best results when you put it in that speed too, but it will do it. So it's not going to be near as good as like those little battery operated units that are like specifically built for airing up mattresses, but this is a nice alternative nonetheless. Now to be honest, about 6 months ago when I first started trying these little dudes out and I found out they even existed, I was kind of struggling for ways I would actually use this thing. I just kind of felt like it was another one of those devices that was going to sit in my drawer. But honestly, over the last 6 months or so, I found myself kind of grabbing these things out and trying them from time to time. Different uses. So some of the things I've used these things on so far is not only like dusting keyboards and things like that, but simply just blowing dust off a countertop. If you don't want to move everything before you dust, now granted it's gonna blow that dust everywhere, I get it, but if you're just trying to do a quick clean real quick, I've actually taken on windowsills, blown those out a few times. I've had dust and dirt and debris in there. I've taken this little duster through there before I come back through and wipe the seal clean. And something else that I also found this really useful for here recently as well is my vacuum filter became a little on the clogged side. I went ahead and took this outside with me with the filter, and this is an extremely nice way to be able to go out and like blow the dust out of that filter and get that filter back to running again. So any kind of filters you have, like on a vacuum, maybe an air purifier or something like that, super handy little device to have. Now something I've kind of got readily available to me is an air compressor and or a leaf blower. And in all honesty, those are really kind of the superior things for me. When I'm really wanting to blow some air, I tend to gravitate towards those. However, if you live in an apartment complex, smaller house, you don't have access to an air compressor or leaf blower, something of that nature, this is a pretty nice little alternative. Now, you're not going to go out to the sidewalk that's full of leaves and blow that whole thing clean with something like this. It's just not what this is designed for. But it will move the leaves nonetheless. It moves quite a bit of air. But as I mentioned, like I said, if you're in a pinch and you don't have access to some of the bigger, fancier tools like that, this little dude is actually pretty capable. It's really easy to keep in the drawer, and then obviously you can store all these things together. It's got this nice little carrying pouch here. You can store it all in to keep all your contents together. It's just one of those things you can kind of grab and go when you need it. And I promise you, as you own this thing for a little while, you're gonna come up with more and more uses for this thing as you go. But other than that, I'm pretty impressed with this little dude. It's got a nice little silicone grip on it. It's pretty comfortable in the hand, pretty easy to hang on to at the same time. So if you're looking for something that might replace like the can of compressed air, check this little dude out, see if that might be for you. Other than that, that's all I've got for you on this one though. Appreciate you taking the time to watch. We'll catch you guys on the next one.